Hey guys, just quickly before the video starts, I want to say that I have an Instagram account in the description below. If you're subscribed to this channel, I would really appreciate if you can follow that account as well for updates on the channel. And second, if you come here often and you aren't subscribed, hit that subscribe button. It would really help my channel a lot. My first goal is to hit 500 subscribers, while my first overall goal is to hit 1,000. So if you can hit that subscribe button, maybe hit that bell for notifications for each time I upload, that would be greatly appreciated. Thank you for your time, and I hope you guys all enjoy the video. Hey, what's up everyone? I'm the Burning Baron, but you can just call me the Baron. And Wave 4 from Kart 8's DLC has officially been revealed. I have a lot I want to talk about with this, and I'm doing it in a bit of a different video format. None of this is scripted. I'm not even playing anything. I'm not watching anything. I'm literally sitting in front of my mic just talking. And I know I can do that because I've been doing it all day of reveal. So, as people are no doubt aware if they've been following up on all this Booster Course DLC, it's that Wave 4 has officially been revealed. We now know all 8 tracks for the 4th wave, and while the data mines did point to a lot of it, there are still some surprises that I'm not gonna lie, I did not see coming at all. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm simply going to talk about each of the 8 tracks, what I think about them, and just give my overall thoughts. I'm gonna try and get everything up so that I can at least keep myself organized when doing this, because this is probably the most unorganized video I will ever attempt to do. I just want to get this out there ASAP. So sit back, relax, and let's go right into the Wave 4 DLC. Alright, so starting with the Fruit Cup, the courses include Tour Amsterdam Drift, GBA Riverside Park, Wii DK Summit, and Tour Yoshi's Island. Yes, much like Sky High Sunday, I do consider Yoshi's Island to be a tour track, regardless of whether or not it's released first in Mario Kart Tour or not. So, starting with Amsterdam Drift, we get a bit of a look. Most of the footage we've gotten isn't all that big, but I can already tell you right out the gate that this track sounds amazing. I love the music that we got from the little gameplay snippets. We don't get too much of a look from the track itself, other than some of the very, very blunt and obvious parts. We could see a bit of the Route 1, we can see a bit of Route 2, like we get like the flower field, the tulip fields of Route 3. The question is, how will this course play? I'm not really here to give my prediction on all of that because I'm not looking at the footage right now. I didn't really study all of it entirely. All I know is that it seems that the routes so far, Route 1, Amsterdam Drift 1 and Amsterdam Drift 2 seem to go in the same direction that they would in their tour counterparts. So at some point that would mean that Tour Amsterdam Drift 1 will have to go in reverse at some point. So let's assume that lap 1 of Amsterdam Drift is based off the first route. At some point it would have to go in reverse because Amsterdam Drift 2 goes in the opposite direction. Same with Amsterdam Drift 3. I assume once Amsterdam Drift 2's lap is done, it'll just transition smoothly into Amsterdam Drift 3, but we don't know because I've heard that some people have seen the Route 3 go in both directions, so who knows, they could do something funky like they did with Berlin Byways, where you just start going into a completely different part of the track to start off the second or third lap. Same with, I guess, London Loop, where you don't immediately go onto the route, onto the third route. But yeah, beyond that, like I said, the music sounds really good. I love that they kept that little quiet, the little choir bits. It sounds amazing. The visuals of the track, once again, are about as standard for what you'd expect from the city tracks, but the overall, you know what, I'll get to the overall thoughts at the end. I'm going to stick to the tracks. So yeah, Amsterdam Drift, no idea how it's really going to play, but there clearly seem to be some options. Moving on to Riverside Park, I'm going to be honest, I'm actually quite okay with this choice. As you might have guessed, I'm pretty sure I mentioned from my last video discussing this, Yoshi Desert was my last GBA pick. but we get Riverside Park instead. I'm okay with that because I also compared it to the fact that I would much rather get anything that's not the first 3 Bowser Castle maps. I would much rather have not seen any of those. And if we did get a GBA Bowser Castle map, I would have preferred it to be 4, but we didn't. I didn't get Yoshi Desert. I honestly wasn't anticipating that we would, but we got Riverside Park, and oh my goodness. I'm glad. I'm glad. This is a good-looking track. One thing to note that seems to be a consistent theme with all the tour tracks is that they take on a much more realistic skybox, as opposed to the cartoony one that Tour has. And Riverside Park overall really benefits from that. The lighting on the water looks amazing. The skybox looks amazing. The overall visuals of Riverside Park in particular look amazing. Like, I was looking at the footage, and why aren't we getting this grass texture for any of the other tracks? Like, seriously, it's so off-putting to a degree how amazing the textures in this track look when compared to Wave 1. Like, even the rocks. Like, I think one of the most distracting thing about several of the courses is how the rock walls of cliffs and stuff look like freaking plasticine or clay. Like, Rock Mountain was probably Wave 3's underwhelming visual track, in the same vein that Toad Circuit was in Wave 1, most of Wave 1 really. But I'm looking at a screenshot right now of Riverside Park, and the rock walls of the cave area look so much better than all of the cliff walls I've seen in the previous waves. Like, aside from maybe some of the trees, this almost looks like it could pass for a base game track. Like, the visuals look like, it almost kind of looks like or reminds me of Shy Guy Falls. That's how good it looks. If you just touched up the trees a little bit, this probably could have been a perfect track, and a good example that Nintendo is perfectly capable of giving us what we want to see out of this DLC, as opposed to just like lazily porting them over from Tour. Riverside Park looks beautiful, and I am so glad like we got this. It kind of supports like how Boo Lake came back last time. It's like really showing the Game Boy Advance some love and showing how far these tracks can come. In terms of its layout, obviously it's going to take on after Tour, which is a much simplified version. But I would say, unlike Sky Garden, Riverside Park follows in the same vein as Sunset Wilds, where it's not like the changes are relatively noticeable. Like, the first U-turn is obviously much shorter. A lot of the turns are there's a lot less turns. Like, the bridge area has been massively simplified. It's much more straight. It's a very simplified layout, but it still retains a lot of its OG theme. It doesn't change it so drastically like Sky Garden. Like, Sky Garden was unnecessarily simplified. All of its turns are like literally just been converted into like simple U-turns. It's like, I much prefer the OG Sky Garden as opposed to the new version. But Riverside Park, I think, does a fantastic job, and I think it's going to be a standout. The music is also really good, nice jazzy feel to it. I don't really care for jazz. I'm not gonna get like that meme, you know, you like jazz. I'm gonna be real, I'm not a huge fan of jazz, but the music does sound really good. Moving on to DK Summit. In contrast, I think, as much as I love DK Summit and love the fact that I'm earning another winner pick from my predictions, DK Summit seems like it's going to be the underwhelming visual one. There's a lot of snow, so it does look a lot like Mount Wario to a degree in terms of its like ground visuals, because most of it's snow. But maybe there's also just not enough to look at. The DK statue looks really good. It's made out of wood this time as opposed to stone, which I guess is a bit more of a callback to the statue's originality in Mario Kart Wii, where it was a wood statue, though thankfully it's still DK as opposed to, for whatever reason, Mario in the original. Hell knows why the DK Summit map had a statue of Mario on it, but we're gonna ignore that because that was Mario Kart Wii. This is Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. It doesn't seem to do anything too drastic. I'd say that of all the tracks so far, DK Summit looks like it's going to be the most faithful to its tour counterpart. It doesn't seem like it's going to change anything. As we've seen, there was no anti-gravity in this area, which, I don't know, could it have benefited? Who knows? We know that the half-pipe ramps are still there, which is awesome because like the half-pipes are pretty cool. Yeah, other than that, I really don't know what else to say about DK Summit other than once again mentioning the music is amazing. You know what? You're gonna hear this so many times, I might as well get this out of the way. This wave might just be the best for music in terms of the remixes, and that's saying something considering how much I love 3DS Rainbow Road and Tour Berlin Byways from the previous wave. We'll get to more on that in a bit, but this wave has what it takes to be the best in terms of its music. I can't really say too much more about DK Summit. It doesn't feel like it changes too much. So moving on, Yoshi's Island. This is the one we've known about for quite some time. So many people have already discussed it thanks to its reveal back in the last Nintendo Direct. I would have gotten my thoughts out. I was going to do a live reaction video of the Direct, but technical issues prevented that, more or less from my laptop on YouTube, but ignoring that. Yoshi's Island looks like a phenomenal track. And I absolutely love how we're finally getting a Yoshi's Island track. I've been kind of like wanting this for quite some time, but like, I just wondered how they would have done it. I think they did it masterfully. Like the amazing callbacks to the original SNES Yoshi's Island, the visual design, like the starting area looks exactly like the flower fields of the first level. You've got like a jungle area with water referencing the third world. You've got the sky area and all the forts that reference like later worlds. It's so amazing. And all the callbacks with like the Nut, I don't know how to pronounce it. In the background, the Huffin' Puffins, the stilt guys, like I would like the flower ring at the end of the near the starting line. I would love it if I got to see the little monkeys in the jungle area. I don't know if they're actually in there, but I think it's absolutely amazing of a track. Unlike most of the others, I actually feel like the music is a little meh. I still like it, but there were so many other Yoshi's Island themed tracks that I would have definitely preferred in terms of its music, but who cares? This is definitely going to be one of the most stunning, most adorable DLC tracks we're going to get. Can't wait for it to come to tour, inevitably, probably in the Yoshi Tour for this year. Moving on to the Boomerang Cup, we have Tour Bangkok Rush, DS Mario Circuit, GCN Waluigi Stadium, and Tour Singapore Speedway. Bangkok Rush, I'm going to be honest with you, for me personally, this is probably just going to be the track I ignore the most. Bangkok Rush is cool. It definitely got its attention with the recent winter tour, I believe it was, where we got the other variation of Singapore Speedway and 2 variations of Bangkok Rush in that tour. So now we have everything for that. Did I really care about Bangkok Rush to begin with? No. I think it's a cool track. The music does not do it for me at all, but we're not going to talk about that. The track itself, I think, visually looks a lot better in 8 Deluxe than it did in Tour, where I think it was a little too sunsetty in the in Tour, so like I think the orange hue was a little overwhelming for most of the track. But I feel like this version is going to be a lot better. The colors mix in a lot better. The lighting makes it look a lot better. It looks a lot less orange all over the place. So I think it's going to be a lot better. How the hell it's going to play? No idea. Bangkok Rush was another one of those tracks where one route just so happened to have to go in reverse, despite going in the same direction at some point. So no idea what to expect out of this track. But I'm going to let it just remain a surprise. Maybe Bangkok Rush can grow on me when playing through the combined version of Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. So I'm going to leave it at that, and we're going to move on to what may be the biggest shock for me in this entire wave, and that is DS Mario Circuit. I was so convinced that they would not pass up on putting Airship Fortress in this game. So when I saw they picked Mario Circuit, I was baffled. Like, floored, straight up. I thought we would have gotten the more popular choice, but we didn't. We got Mario Circuit. my tone of voice might have made it sound like I'm not interested in that at all. On the contrary, I'm okay with this. The reason why, and I think a lot of people might agree with me with this, is that at least Mario Circuit has not been remade yet. This is not the first time, because obviously at the time of their release, Shroom Ridge and Snowland were both also tracks that have not been remade previously. And that's fine, I'd much rather see that. But Mario Circuit's another one of those examples. It's literally in the same boat as Shroom Ridge, where I did not see this track coming at all. And it's a track that has not been remade yet. Another amazing remix for the music. I've been waiting for the circuit theme from Mario Kart DS to make a comeback, and I'm so excited to listen to it in full. Once again, this is a track that we don't seem to get too much of a look at, but at the same time, we do get some brand new looks at different areas. Apparently, at some point in this course, it turns into a forest, which I believe we know was not in the OG DS version. It seems to be a lot more elevated in comparison to the original. There seems to be a little less of the moat around the castle. I'm not entirely sure, it's really hard to tell, but judging by this DS screenshot, the front of the castle seems a lot more covered in this new version as compared to the original. We also noticed that there was a wiggler on the track at some point within the forest area, so it seems like the foresty area is going to be a bit more of a point of interest, because it's going to be probably the most new part of the track. I don't know if the track layout will be altered. I want to say I doubt it, because Mario Circuit on the DS wasn't that long. I don't think it would require much of a layout change. And every single, barring Peach Gardens to a degree, none of the other DS tracks have seen an altered layout to the tracks. Peach Garden, like, even the base layout is the same. It's just a few little track details, like with the hedge mazes and all that stuff, that was just slightly altered. Overall, the track layout is still relatively identical, if not for a few singular changes here and there. But overall, I'm floored that they chose Mario Circuit over Airship Fortress. But at the same time, that is a surprise win for me, because this was one of my OG predictions. So that's another point, and I love that. So Mario Circuit, I'm welcoming it. I think it's a good addition. People might not sit well with it. It's a Mario Circuit. Wow, it's a boring choice, but hey, at least it hasn't come back. I would have loved Airship Fortress, but I think I can take what we've got. Moving on to GCN Waluigi Stadium, something that has been floating around for the longest time. We've known Waluigi Stadium was going to hit this DLC. We thought it was going to be last wave based on data mines, but it's clear that I think Nintendo is aware of all this data mine shit and is trying their best to return some of the surprise factor to something we have already slightly uncovered for ourselves, and by ourselves, I mean data miners. So, Waluigi Stadium finally is hitting the game. We've been teased about this through almost every data mine, and it's been apparently just moved down one wave, because like I said, according to the old prefix data mine, this track was possibly supposed to be in wave 3. And now it's in wave 4 as the first GameCube track for the DLC. I gotta say, much like, oh, well, okay, I have to compare it to a further down the line track, but this track looks amazing. I think the details look phenomenal. Much like, it's, you know what? I'm gonna compare this to Riverside Park in the fact that the visual appeal looks amazing. It doesn't look like anything really stands out too much as blunt tour porting. That's what I want to say. It almost kind of looks exactly like DS Wario Stadium in the base game. I think it's got that visual appeal, which is great. So Waluigi Stadium is, I think, a great addition. Give Waluigi some love, a good, solid GCN pick. Again, the visuals are great, the music sounds really good. I'm quite excited. They did do a little bit of a change at the end of the track by adding a graded road on the ending half pipe, which in this game transitions into a small anti-gravity section leading up to a glider ramp. I'd assume that you can either take that route or you can go the normal route. Will that appear in Tour though is the real question. We might not have long to find out. It could be the next Tour at the time of recording this and hopefully uploading this. Tomorrow on Friday is when we will possibly get the trailer for the next Tour, and we don't even know what course will be added. It could be Mario Circuit or Waluigi Stadium just to set people up for the DLC. Who knows? That's what makes it exciting. But we don't know if that little area could be added to Tour as well. So that's something to look forward to. And as for our last track, and what might be my favorite for the wave, Singapore Speedway. I feel like this was almost on par with what my reaction to seeing 3DS Rainbow Road in the last wave. My eyes nearly popped out of their sockets. This track looks beautiful. Much like the other two Tour tracks, we don't know exactly how they're going to play or how it's going to play, but it does seem like most of the routes go in the same direction as their Tour counterparts, as according to what I'm reading on Super Mario Wiki. Some changes were made. I guess there was a new gliding section just before the that one little area in the third route with like that giant asterisk-shaped building. I don't know what that's called. I'm not exactly an expert on the city landmarks and what they're called, barring the very obvious ones like the Eiffel Tower. But this track looks so beautiful. I can't get over the visual appeal, and that's not even starting on how much I gushed over the remix that they used in the trailer. It was godlike. Like, my first reaction was, there was not supposed to be anything that could top Berlin Byways. And that's what I said when Berlin Byways showed up and topped Vancouver Velocity. Like, Mario Kart Tour's music is almost a hit or a miss. The hits have the power to snipe my head off, yet the misses are so bad they make Stormtrooper aim look good. That's how good, and like the music is just all over the place for Tour, but Singapore Speedway is easily one of the best remixes in this entire wave. I think it's amazing. The visuals, again, oh my goodness, look amazing. I think this is personally going to be the highlight of the wave for me. And like, even with Yoshi's Island being an amazing new idea, and how gorgeous Waluigi Stadium and Riverside Park look, and how much I really like Amsterdam Drift, being my third favorite Tour track overall, Singapore Speedway is the highlight for this wave for me so far. And I cannot wait to see how it plays in Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. So yeah, that's all I can say. Looks beautiful, and I can't wait. Alright, that covers it for the tracks. I think I'll use this to just touch up anything else. First off, obviously speaking, I can't speak about this whole wave without mentioning one of the bigger surprises that we got back in the February Direct, and that is the fact that Birdo is also dropping with this wave, alongside 8 additional variants in the same color scheme as the Shy Guys and Yoshis. Absolutely love it. Gives me a lot more hope for more content down the line. I think in terms of characters, my general hopes / predictions would be Pauline and Diddy Kong and King Babam and Petey Piranha. Let's assume we get 4 more characters. I'd say Pauline and Diddy are very good options, and I think have the highest chance. Pauline, with her resurgence to the Mario franchise since Odyssey, I think it would be remiss if they didn't add her. And I feel like Diddy Kong is like a simple add in the same way that Bowser Jr. was when we first got Mario Kart 8 Deluxe in general. Petey Piranha, I think, is more or less of a tie-in with Piranha Plant Cove, which was not in this wave, but we all know will probably come in a future wave, guaranteed. So Petey Piranha, I feel like, would just be a really good option, plus a good heavyweight option for the game, because we really don't, we could use another heavyweight. So Petey Piranha could easily be a character on par with Bowser, Wario, and Morton. As for King Babam, I'm picking him simply because I like him. I would love to see him. Do I think he has the highest odds? Not really. I feel like Funky Kong probably even has better odds because he's a real fan favorite, but I personally want to go with King Babam out of all characters. Who knows, we could get more. I would love to see more. We've still got characters like Kamek, Chargin' Chuck, Captain Toad, if you want to consider him a separate character, Dixie Kong. There are quite a few characters they could still pull from. I just think that characters like Pauline and Diddy are the easiest picks, and PD Piranha would be a good fit-in. So I think characters will be a great mystery. I'm still hoping for Kart parts and glider parts. That would be amazing, but who knows about that. Given my overall impressions of the wave, I think visually, once again, they're just stepping it up. It seems like every single wave just keeps looking better. Do I want to say Wave 4 looks better than Wave 3? It's really hard to say because neither London Loop nor Berlin Byways really stood out that much in terms of their visual appeal. They kind of just looked the same as like the past city tracks. The third wave did have Rock Rock Mountain, which was basically, in terms of visuals, the Toad circuit of that wave. Kind of a distracting visual look. Very simplistic. Looked like it was ported right from Tour easily. The same, like, Merry Mountain and Peach Gardens and like most of the other tracks just kind of looked a little... They didn't look as bad as Wave 1, but I don't even want to say they capped the same level Wave 2 hit. Like, even though Calamari Desert also had a lot of the rock canyon walls that were a little off-putting, it still looked a lot better with the sand designs, or textures I should say. Waluigi Pinball and Mushroom Gorge were two other really good looking tracks. Like, I just felt like the textures used were a lot more appealing in comparison. Snowland looked pretty good with the reflective road, and even though that kind of was reverted in Tour, it's kind of expected. But the visual appeal of Wave 2, I feel like was a slight step above Wave 3, but I think Wave 4 hits all new heights in the fact that some of these tracks do look like they could pass for base game tracks. That's looking at Riverside Park and GCN Waluigi Stadium. So straight up, just they look amazing. The music has everything it needs to be the best of all four waves so far. Like, the only music I'm not really keen on is Bangkok Rush, and like that's just because I didn't really like the music to begin with. I would complain about Yoshi's Island, but it's less on how the music sounds and more or less just the remix they chose to do instead. Like the athletic theme from Yoshi's Island, it's not nearly as strong as the main theme, so it's not really that big of a deal. I'm gonna cut it some slack, but Singapore Speedway, Waluigi Stadium, DK Summit, Amsterdam Drift, Mario Circuit, like that's 5, and even Riverside Park sounds really good. So like that's literally just only one that I'm not huge on, one that I'm giving a slight pass, and then the rest are certified bangers. So I am so excited for this. I will definitely be doing a showcase when the wave releases. When that releases, not entirely sure because I don't know if I work yet. But I will do my best to get that out on the day of the release of the wave. So I hope you guys look forward to that. I definitely will. And I hope you guys all enjoyed the video. Leave a like, leave a comment. If you liked what you saw, hit that subscribe button. And I will see you guys all in the next video. So, peace out.